What's up, guys? James from Bolt Bros here. Hey, once again, we're just going to throw thoughts and prayers out there to Damar Hamlin. Scary situation. Wild to be able to see just kind of a routine tackle and to be able to have a player affected so quickly like that. And, shout out to medical staff there to be able to kind of be quick and to be able to get out there and help him out and be able to get him into a stable condition. Once again, shout out to medical staff there, and thoughts and prayers to the family, to everybody out there. Once again, very scary situation. But let's talk about the Week 18 scenario for playoff clinching, guys. So let's get into it, guys, and let's talk about it. Bolt Bros, let's go. All right, guys. So, we kind of know what's going on with the Chargers here. We have basically a lock at the lowest 6th seed, currently sitting in the 5th seed here. So I just kind of wanted to emphasize a little bit more about what we basically can do, or what the other teams are going to be able to do for the playoff scenario at this point. So it's kind of a crazy little situation here because there is a lot still to be said here about what's going on within this playoff situation. So bottom line, this is kind of what it's looking like right now, guys. So we are looking at currently right now the Chiefs at the number 1 seed. They would have the bye and home field advantage at that point. Chiefs clinch with any of the following: with a win, with a 1 Bills loss, because the Bills were sitting in that 1 seed up till Monday night. Or they would need 2 Bill losses with the Bengals loss too. Wild to be able to even see that the Bengals even have the chance to get to the number 1 seed, but that's how good that team has been playing. So insane to be able to see that. So Bills will clinch with the following: if they just win 2 out, basically they beat the Bengals and then they beat the Patriots to Week 18, basically they will be able to clinch the number 1 seed. So basically there's another way they could do it, where win at Bengals with a Chiefs loss, and then win versus Patriots, plus a Chiefs and Bengals loss in Week 18. Basically they'll get the number 1 seed at that point. Or it's crazy to be able to see the Bengals clinch with any of the following: 2 wins plus a Chiefs loss. So they could actually get into the playoffs at the number 1 seed if basically the Chiefs lose the last week, which is, I believe, against the Raiders. So it's amazing to be able to see that there is that ability, and so much going on with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I should even say all the way to the 7th seed and what's going on here. So there's so much uncertainty going into Week 18 right now, and it's even more uncertain with what's happened on Monday night. So wild to be able to see. Now, once again, I could throw out a little different ideas here. I mean, there's an idea that I have brought up where maybe they would just create a Week 19 per se, give the AFC playoff teams or all the playoff teams a bye week for the first round, essentially, of the playoffs, but just create kind of a Week 19 scenario for a 1 game, say Thursday night game for Bengals, Bills game, makeup game or something like that, or a Saturday game. It kind of creates a primetime game in a sense, to be able to rebroadcast that game or replay that game. So, or restart it to where it ended, that is. So that's something that I thought about, where they basically will just give every playoff team a first week bye. Kind of sucks because that's kind of really one of the big perks of the number 1 seed. But it would kind of keep things a little bit more on track. And even at the point, probably what that means is that either they have to push up the Super Bowl or get rid of the Pro Bowl. So either way, I don't really know where it's at. I'm an outsider looking in, with just throwing some ideas out there. Who knows what's going to happen? But continuing on to what's going on with the playoffs, AFC South title still up for play. Amazing to be able to see the Jaguars at 8-8. It's crazy to see that the Titans are 7-9 right now. Bottom line, last week's game didn't really matter at all. Other than the fact of this week is where the Jaguars basically can win the title. We're currently sitting at the 4th seed right now with a win versus the the Titans or a tie versus the Titans to be able to get that AFC West, or excuse me, AFC South title. So that's wild to see. Titans have gone on such a crazy losing streak right now, basically, but they would still be able to take the title if they win at Jaguars. Very, very tough for them because they are a slumping team in a lot of different ways right now. I just read that they were actually, I think it was like crazy amount of people on the IR on that team. I think it was like almost 30 something players on the Titans that have gone on the IR this year. It is insane to see that and what's going on there. So that's kind of where it's at for the AFC South. For the Chargers, we're sitting at the 5th seed right now. Basically, we win, we clinch the 5th seed regardless. That's what's going to happen. If the Ravens end up winning this weekend, we end up losing, then the Ravens will be the 5th seed, we'll be the 6th seed. So either way, based upon what I'm hearing from Brandon Staley, he wants to be able to go for that 5th seed. Nobody's going to be sitting in this game. They are still going to go out there and play with their starters and get that 5th seed. He sees importance into it. I see importance into it because, once again, if seeds 1 through 4 end up losing, say going into this AFC or into the wild card week, and then they end up having the top seed, which would be the number 1 seed, lose in the second week in the divisional round, that would put the Chargers at a home field advantage situation. So there is some big importance to that, guys. So, but moving on. AFC North title. Bengals will clinch with a win, tie versus Bills, or win versus Ravens. So it's interesting. That's why that Monday night game had a big importance here. Now, once again, there's a much more important thing that had happened on Monday night. Health is much more important and bigger than the football game that they were trying to play on field. But bottom line, Bengals can clinch the number 1 seed plus the AFC North title with a win over the Bills and a win over the Ravens. Basically, they probably could clinch it either which way. Ravens are kind of going through a lot, especially with that loss last week against the Steelers. Now, 7th seed. This one is insane. It is insane to be able to see what's going on here. So, Patriots can clinch with a win at Bills straight up. So they have to beat the Bills for week 18. Or the Dolphins lose at the Jets and Steelers lose to the Browns and the Jaguars win versus Titans. Now, this one is obviously the one they need to just go to. Just make it simple for yourself versus waiting for other teams to make things happen for you. Now, Dolphins loss versus the Jets, possible. Jets wins versus the Titans, very possible. Now, to be able to say the Steelers lose at Browns, I don't think that's very possible. I think the Steelers are playing well enough to be able to beat the Browns. Browns don't have anything other than spoilers at this point. So that's going to be a tough one for them to be able to manage through. So personally, they just have to find a way to beat the Bills. Now, with the Dolphins, man, this team is a streaky team. I mean, if you look at their record and how they have been 3 games straight, winning streak, losing 3, win 5, lose 5, like it's just going all over the place with this dang team. Like, that team is wild. And I know they're dealing with a lot with quarterback situation. Tua has been out, everything like that. I get it. But man, it's just such an inconsistent thing. But they're sitting there at 8-8 right now, fighting for that 7th seed. So they basically clinch with a win versus the Jets, and the Patriots need to lose to the Bills. Totally possible. Somewhat possible. Who knows? It's insane to see where they're sitting at here for this one. So I think it's amazing to see the Steelers back here with an 8-8. Guys came out of nowhere, and if you guys watched that Ravens Steelers game, I mean, what a drive at the end there. I think that Kenny Pickett is showing that he could be that guy when necessary. He could be that guy to get that drive to be able to get the win. So it's wild to be able to see where they're sitting at right now. But Mike Tomlin, once again, is a fantastic coach. I mean, it's wild to hear that some Steeler fans get really frustrated with the guy, but he's the man. He hasn't had a losing season in his entire career with the Steelers. So that says enough right there to me. So basically the Steelers could clinch with a win versus the Browns and a Dolphin loss versus the Jets, and the Patriots lose to the Bills. Guys, it's crazy to think about, but I really feel that scenario is very, very possible there. I mean, the Steelers legitimately have a chance to get into the playoffs. They have a complete chance right now to get into the playoffs. It's insane. This is like just like what happened last year. Last week, that it came down to the Chargers-Raiders game last year. Basically, if we tied that game, we would have both gone in the playoffs. If we won that game, obviously we went to the playoffs. I don't think the Steelers would have made the playoffs at that point. So it's crazy to be able to see they are in that situation. And it's a very, very probable situation, in my opinion. Like, they just have to beat the Browns. Totally possible. Dolphins loss versus Jets. Totally possible. Patriots loss. Very possible to the Bills. So crazy to see that. Now, once again, going into this, the Jaguars could either clinch the division or they could sit in the 7th seed. It's crazy. So they could lose to the Titans and then a loss by the Dolphins, Patriots, and Steelers. Now, kind of an improbable situation, in my opinion. Too many moving pieces in that situation. But crazy to see that they still have a possibility to make it happen, guys. So it's wild to see what's happening with the 7th seed and these division situations. Now, for us, we're just looking to be able to beat the Broncos this weekend. We just got to beat the Broncos straight up. That's all we have to do. And if we just beat the Broncos, guys, we'll be the 5th seed. Simple as that. Not really too much that we need to do other than be healthy. It was great to be able to see that last game last week against the Rams where we were able to bring in Chase Daniels, bring in our backups later on because we basically destroyed the Rams. So wild to be able to see kind of what's happening here. But once again, all we have to do is just beat those guys right there. So beat them. We get the 5th seed. We'll be able to either go to Jacksonville or we'll be going to Nashville, Tennessee for our first game. I think it's great scenarios for either which way. Jaguars are a very hot team right now, such as the Chargers. Excuse me. I was going to say I'm not the hot team, but I'm a fan of the hot team here. But excited to be able to see kind of how it all pans out here, guys. But once again, we're playing with a ton of confidence, guys. We're playing with a ton of ability to be able to really do some damage in the playoffs. Our offense really woke up in the last game. 2, tight ends started getting involved too in the red zone. We did well in executing in the red zone. Our running game started going too. Defense just played well, just like they normally have been. So once again, guys, we have a lot in front of us here. A lot of crazy scenarios here. Once again, the scenario, even with the season, we have no idea where that's going to even go to. So that's something that will hopefully be broadcasted to us here soon or told to us here very soon. So once again, guys, prayers back out to Damar Hamlin and him and his family. Keep them in your prayers. Keep them in your thoughts. And scary situation all around. So once again, guys, James from Bolt Bros. Let's keep it going, my guys. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Let's go.